Time now for the markets with Leighton. And you say there's no avian flu as far as Mississippi is concerned?
That is correct, and Sanderson Farms says it's not been identified in any of the states it operates in. Also ahead today, an uptick in U.S. catfish processing and sales. The strong dollar is hurting U.S. commodity exports, while the cotton trade right now is said to be similar to the soybean market. Brownfield Ag News reports this week the danger of avian flu in poultry is being overplayed. Meanwhile, the closest infected flock to Mississippi is on the Arkansas-Missouri border. Mississippi's largest chicken operator, Sanderson Farms, says the avian flu has not been identified in any of its operations. Sanderson has a full biosecurity program in place and tests all flocks before they are processed. Well, the main numbers are up in the latest Aquaculture report. It was out on Friday, the 13th of March. Let's take a look. In February, U.S. producers received a pond bank price of $1.14 per pound for premium size live fish. That's basically flat with what was paid both a year ago and last month. Farm sales totaled over 26 million pounds round weight. That is up 3% from February 2014. Processor sales totaled just over 13.5 million pounds, an increase of 8% from a year ago. A campaign to increase the beef checkoff is ready for launch. However, at least 3 different groups are opposing the proposed increase from $1 to $2 per head. Meanwhile, the latest government numbers indicate a little bit of herd expansion showing up now in the cattle sector. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams of Mississippi State discussed the on-feed report with me recently.
Brian, did the cattle on-feed report come out close to the pre-report expectations?
It was pretty close. Looking at the numbers themselves, total on-feed was up just slightly, and the expectation was for it to be unchanged. Then marketings were down about 9%, and that was real close to expectations. And placements were down 11%. They were expected to be down about 13.7%, so that was a little bit higher than expected, but still not too far off.
Well, kind of drilling down under these numbers a little bit, so are we seeing some evidence then of herd expansion in the U.S.?
There's a little bit appearing in this. The main thing is that heifers are being held back on the farm rather than being placed, but it's something that'll take a little bit more time to start showing up in the future.
Well, overall, was this kind of neutral or positive as far as this report, the numbers at, say, the mercantile exchange, the impact on the futures there?
Well, looking just at the numbers and at the report itself, it's a fairly neutral report because it wasn't too far off from expectations. But when we look at the markets, they came down a little bit after the report did come out.
All right, what is boxed beef doing now that we're in another week kind of removed from that report? What is it doing, and what is that saying maybe about demand for beef right now?
Well, we've seen boxed beef come up. Last check, it was falling around $2.49, and that was about $10 per hundredweight higher than it was a week ago. So it's been kind of coming up a little bit. But I think a lot of that is we're seeing kind of a seasonal cycle when we're coming out of the cold winter season and we're starting to get into the spring grilling season, and so our supermarkets are starting to buy more and stock up on their meat.
Although this week it seems like we won't get to grilling season, but I guess we will eventually. As far as overall beef sector, what's your outlook looking down the road?
I'd say slightly bearish, mainly because of that seasonal trend that I was talking about. Entering the spring, we see the demand for meat pick up, but at the same time, we're still seeing real high boxed beef prices and high cattle prices in general. Plus, there's competition from other meats, poultry and pork, or the prices are good there compared to the high beef prices.
That interview was recorded the week of all the snow in Mississippi. Open outcry futures trading is coming to an end in Chicago and New York this summer. In explaining this move, the CME group says open outcry now accounts for only 1% of the total futures volume at its different exchanges. Time for the trivia quiz. This week it's about a Mississippi crop, and here's a question for you. How many states grow peanuts commercially? Is the answer A, 7, B, 15, C, 20, or D, 31? I'll have that for you at the end of the markets. The surge of the dollar continues to be a big story, a story that is hurting ag exports. The dollar hit a 12-year high on Friday, March 13th, but it has come down a bit as we record this section of Farm Week. Analyst Naomi Bloom has this take on what the future holds for the dollar on Market to Market.
It's going to continue to work a little higher in the short term and then start to stabilize and trade sideways. We're not looking to see any reprieve in the recent action just because of how the U.S. economy is improving truly overall, and so that's what's keeping that dollar well supported. So again, good for the economy, of course, not so great for our commodities, though. Of course, that really affects our export market, and we're already seeing that.
Well, China is said to be holding most of the cards as far as the cotton market as spring begins. Analyst Don Roos says the predominant view continues to be that cotton acreage will be shifting away. In the meantime, he says he thinks the cotton market is showing some similarities to the U.S. soybean trade.
We kind of stabilized about the same time the soybeans did. We pushed to the upside, a little bit of talk about reduced acres maybe in the cotton, but fundamentally it's very similar to the soybeans. It's a supply bear market.
Before the feature story on Farm Week, let's check the trivia answer for this week. The correct choice is B. 15 states, including Mississippi, grow peanuts commercially, this according to the National Peanut Board.